almost every single video game journalist I've come across on the internet is a loser. They do not care about the space. They do not care about entertainment. Really, they don't care about anything but themselves. And now they are being called out over at IGN for giving Escape from Tarkov a 6, and they were caught straight up lying about what they did in their review period and how much time they actually put into this game. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, most of these video game journalists do not actually care about video games. Most of them do not actually play video games to completion, and I think it is ridiculous that anybody still takes them seriously. But luckily, we are always willing to call people out on their BS, and that is exactly what is happening because IGN had posted their Escape from Tarkov review and they gave it a 6, saying it was okay. Now, I never really got into Escape from Tarkov, but everything I've seen of it seems really great. The little bit that I've tried was really fun, and I know so many people absolutely love this title, and if you know you're not going to like a game, you shouldn't be reviewing it, you shouldn't be forcing yourself to play it, and this is a big reason why I constantly say video game journos should be required to record themselves playing or live stream their playthrough or prove they've played a game, because they can straight up lie about how much they actually played, and this reviewer has gotten community noted and called out because they are not being honest with this review. Now, I'm not going to read the whole entire thing because, of course, they're lying and they're not being honest, but they're saying even with everything that frustrates me about Tarkov, it'll likely keep me playing for hundreds of more hours. Why would you play something for hundreds of hours if you're saying it's only a 6? It takes work to figure out, but the loot game is just about the best out there once you do. This thing looks and performs badly by standards of the day, and their verdict was Tarkov is the extraction shooter that started it all, and many of its systems are fascinating to learn and master at your own pace as it viciously refuses to hold your hand. I genuinely love that unapologetic challenge, but an equal number of things about it are obnoxious, janky, or just plain scuffed to an unacceptable degree. That includes its subpar performance and bugginess, its absolutely atrocious UI, and its unmitigated plague of cheaters. There is still a stellar, dense, and realistic FPS with one of the best progression treadmills ever made buried beneath all of that, feeding you interesting things to do for hundreds of hours. Now, one of the major problems they claim to have is the amount of cheaters this has. They say even more alarming is the continued prevalence of cheaters who continue to plague the PvP server so that they can sell their ill-gotten items back to the people they've ripped off via an in-game trading market. It's all the usual stuff like wall hacks, aimbots, and moving at faster than normal speeds, but in a game where all of your loot is on the line, not doing a better job to mitigate this kind of stuff is pretty hard to swallow, but well, as I said, this is not the truth. One peg said, "Hi, your reviewer is lying. He stated he spent 10 hours in PvP and quit to play PvE due to cheaters." He didn't. He spent 30 minutes, maybe, 2 raids. The first raid is the tutorial mission in which you can't die. The second raid he recorded for your review video and died to an extraction camper, said this one person was cheating and quit to play PvE Tarkov. That person wasn't cheating. Your reviewer showed the death screen in the video review. I attached a copy of his account details. He's a typical 800 plus hour Tarkov player that appears to have started just prior to or during Tarkov's last wipe. He stated he spent 120 hours total in the game. He didn't. His account is 52 hours and 37 minutes old, not 120. Much of that time is spent in your stash, so he had roughly 70% of that time in PvE raids except one, which I mentioned above already. If your reviewer cannot be honest / lies about this time spent in game and his reasonings behind his opinions, it invalidates all of his first-hand experience when formulating his opinions and why. Tarkov absolutely has its problems. There's tons of jank, poor optimization, etc., That does not mean BSG is undeserving of a fair review from you and your organization, and it certainly is undeserving of claims being made by a first-hand account that does not exist for your reviewer. And this is so freaking funny to me because these outlets are already struggling, okay? They're paying people the bare amount possible. Typically, in this case, I don't know exactly what IGN pays, but for freelance video game articles, they're typically 20 to 30 bucks per article, which of course isn't a lot, but that's why we are seeing them sort of go through a lot of reviewers very quickly because they don't have a large staff anymore and then they have to pay freelancers. But regardless, we are talking about somebody who, yes, only has 52 hours worth of time, so straight up lied in their review. And even if I didn't like a video game that much, or I didn't like a company, I wouldn't lie about it, okay? And this just is the difference between why you should not trust the access media anymore versus independent content creators. You can find independent content creators who you actually like, who you actually trust, and you don't have to deal with this. And yes, the person that they claimed was cheating has 827 hours in the game. That clearly is not somebody who is cheating and hacking and breaking systems. Their account would have been reported, their account would have been banned by now. And you love to actually see so many people straight up calling out these different organizations because for far too long, people have blindly trusted the IGNs, the Kotakus, the Polygons of this industry when they do not deserve it anymore. And IGN, which is able to garner 1.1k likes even with 4.5 million views, yeah, got completely and utterly ratioed. Not the research and everything. I'm here for it though. POV, he was gonna let it go. Then the Adderall kicked in. Never thought I'd say it in a positive way, but fuck it. IGN used to have game journalists. Now they have whatever they have now. This guy cooked them. Game journalists lying about video games they claim they played. Color me shocked, I tell you. And this is why I find it so important that I actually live stream the games that I talk about because sure, I can't play every single one, but most of them I give a shot because I'm a human being. Sometimes I can be wrong. I can like something I thought that I wouldn't. And I don't think that it's fair to not play something, even though I've talked about it at length. And, well, video game journalists at IGN's, Kotaku's, Polygons should be required to upload their full playthrough, upload at least a portion of gameplay, and I'm talking hours and hours. They should live stream it. They should actually have to prove that they did what they claimed, but they never have to, and that's why you just can't trust them. It's awful. They have a Souls fan review Elden Ring. Sports gamers review the sports games. They had someone admit to not liking extraction games as the reviewer for the extraction game. Get real here. He should have written, the game's too hard for me to play as I suck at realistic shooters where one bullet can kill. When is IGN ever honest? Bro couldn't even find the drip tab. Yeah, I mean, you can't actually take these organizations seriously anymore. And this situation right here is what happens when somebody who doesn't like a genre is forced to review something, but you're hiring people who are not actually gamers. It's like if you hired somebody who only read books to watch movies. Of course, they might find a little bit of enjoyment out of it, but it's not their preferred medium. And most of these people do not like video games, do not care about video games, and they haven't played enough video games to be able to compare and contrast and actually say what is good about this versus what is better in potentially other games in a genre. So this is just absolutely embarrassing for IGN, and reviews like this are a prime example as to why these outlets have become so irrelevant over the past few years. Unless it gains them access and unless it puts them in the good graces of the large companies, they review things like shit and they don't generally agree with gamers. And I love to see them getting called out, and IGN is getting absolutely clowned on right now, and they deserve all all of the backlash they're facing. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.